because all he can do is the best he can do. He's not a superhero. And it's unfair to place unfulfillable expectations on this man just because of his color. You're actually doing the opposite. It's like, what do you think is gonna happen? He's there for 8 years. And he has to undo what 43 presidents have done in 8 years. It's not fair.
What do you think of the state of, I'm not gonna say just black leadership period, on the things you care about in the country? Who do you look at and say, this man or woman speaks for the things I care about?
It's gonna be funny. I find it funny, but my leadership, I like Dave Chappelle's leadership. Because he tells it in humor so you can deal with it, but it's always a nice chunk of truth in there. I believe in people. You know, I want what's best for people. I love people. You know, so I don't have that sort of thing like I want to vote Republican just to save more money. That's not the end game. It's not about who got more money and who got more houses. You know, you've earned it, buy what you want. You know, but don't forget what's important. Without people, being rich would be very boring. There's no one to share with, no one to have. You know what I mean? Like you just be a rich person, one person on the planet, just like, well, then what do you do?
I mean, I should say that, you know, when I was a kid, I didn't really have any grand designs. I mean, the reason I started programming computers is because I like computer games. And I play lots of computer games, and I learned that if I wrote software and sold it, then I could get more money and buy better computers. So it wasn't really, you know, with some grand vision or anything. When I was growing up, I'd read lots of books, and they were very often set in the United States, and it seemed like a lot of new technology was being developed in the United States. So I thought, okay, I really want to work on new technology, so I want to get to Silicon Valley. When I was growing up, Silicon Valley seemed like some sort of mythical place, you know, like Mount Olympus or something.
Yeah, I did listen to a song called Song Cry. And the idea of the hook, never seen it coming down my eyes, but I got to make the song cry. It tells you right there what I was hiding. And the strongest thing a man can do is cry. To expose your feelings, to be vulnerable in front of the world. That's real strength. You know, you feel like you got to be this guarded person. That's not real. It's fake.
Does that mean you were unhappy during that period and didn't have a handle on it, or what?
Well, you compartmentalize, right? So you can be inside your body and be happy, but at the core of it, something else is going on. No, I just don't care about it. It's almost like a loser's mentality. It's like everyone's so spoiled. Like it's like, you know, he won't let me shine. I even heard someone say like, yo, why Jay won't let Kanye? I'm like, let Kanye. Kanye's Kanye. He's gonna do what he does. That's a loser's mentality. My albums came out with Outkast, Lauren, Q-Tip, all of them in 1 week. You know, everybody did good. You know, look at the chart now. It's Wale, #1. This is like a shameless plug. Rock Nation managed artist, J. Cole, which will probably go to #1 next week again. No, for the first time ever, but he'll go to #1. Rock Nation, and it's Kanye. Everyone's flourishing. You know, you gotta be out. You gotta be able to compete. Steel sharp and steel. You gotta get out there and you gotta earn your spot. It's not given. It's such a spoiled brat losers mentality that's it's annoying.
I think certainly being focused on something that you're confident will have high value to someone else, and just being really rigorous in making that assessment, because people tend to, a natural human tendency is wishful thinking. So a challenge for entrepreneurs is to say, well, what's the difference between really believing in your ideals and sticking to them versus pursuing some unrealistic dream that doesn't actually have merit? And that is a really difficult thing to tell. Can you tell the difference between those two things? You know? So you need to be sort of very rigorous in your self-analysis. I think certainly extremely tenacious, and then just work like hell. I mean, you just have to put in, you know, 80 to 100-hour weeks every week. All those things improve the odds of success. If other people are putting in 40-hour work weeks and you're putting in 100-hour work weeks, then even if you're doing the same thing, you know that You will achieve in 4 months what it takes them a year to achieve.
You know, in the beginning, we went to every single label, and every single label shut their door on us. The genius thing that we did was we didn't give up. We didn't say, because these guys, you know, we use that what do they know approach. You know, we didn't give up at that point. I think that, you know, that was the genius thing we did. We started selling our own CDs, and we built our own buzz, and then the record company came back to us. So now we had a different negotiation. You know, it wasn't the same artist label relationship. Now we retain ownership in our own company, and it was the best thing for us.
Now is the time to take risk. You don't have, yeah, you don't have kids. Your obligation. Well, sorry. Probably don't have kids. But as you get older, your obligations increase. So and once you have a family, you start taking risk not just for yourself but for your family as well. It gets much harder to do things that might not work out. So now is the time to do that before you have those obligations. So I would encourage you to take risks now. Do something bold.
I can only assume, because I don't know the answer to that, except that, you know, sometimes people's success, you know, make people feel, instead of saying, wow, that person's successful and I'm inspired. Well, some people are. Some people are like, that person's successful, I'm gonna strive and I'm gonna be exactly where they are. And some people are just like, they got the reverse attitude, like their success means my failure. So I hate that success. So I have to make some kind of explanation of why they're here and why they shouldn't be here, and then why they wouldn't be here if this person was here. Who thinks like that? If you take that long to think, if you take that long to think about someone why they shouldn't be here, then you're good, and you should be doing something with that intelligence.
I think it stems because I had this like existential crisis when I was a kid, and tried to figure out what's it all about, and none of the books I read seemed to actually have a good answer. You know, so I read all the religious texts, and I read a bunch of philosophy books, and they're all quite depressing, particularly the Germans. Actually, when I read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I thought, okay, this is a pretty good one. You know, just to sort of try to gain greater enlightenment over time. That seems like a good goal. Because we don't really know what the meaning of life is. Or even really what the right questions are to ask, but if we can improve our understanding of the universe, then eventually we can figure out what the right question to ask is. You know, if it's not meaning of life, it's something, you know. Yeah.
You know, there's a big thing called the internet, so it changes the landscape of everything. I think the consumption of music is at an all-time high, but as we see, the music business is down, so something has to be done there. You know, it was a time in music where a hit solved everything. You just had a hit, it didn't matter what was going on. You know, get a hit, and you know, it solved everyone's problem.
Covered a lot of sins.
You know, that's no longer true, not today. And I think, you know, just having that mentality for so long, I think it's the music business is still stuck in that place because, I mean, you know, we haven't figured that out. We haven't figured it out. I think in business, one of the biggest things is to open yourself up for change. You don't have to change who you are and how you operate, but just, you know, if the landscape is changed, then the way we do business has to change somewhat. We don't have to change who we are. We have to change the way we go about it. Because like I said, the consumption of music is higher than ever. The reason I focused on that, because such a small thing changed my life, right? A sixth grade teacher said, you know what, you're kind of smart. And I believed her. I said, I'm smart, right? So she gave me that sort of opportunity. She sparked the idea in my mind. So that's why my first thing is the scholarship fund, because there are a ton of very intelligent kids that's coming out of these urban areas who can make it all the way if given the opportunity. And so it's a challenge that I gave to my mom, and my mom is so involved with it. Like she gets on the bus and she takes these kids to their to interview with colleges, and you know, now we're starting to see kids graduate from college, and you know, that sort of feeling, you know, when it's real. I'm not just sitting home writing a check and, you know, for whatever reason, make myself feel good or anything like this. It's something that I really want to do and I'm really, you know, into and excited about. So I'm seeing the results. I'm seeing, you know, we were getting our first graduates from the Sean Carter Scholarship Program, which is like, for me, the best thing ever.